horrifying ordeal of Frank Sinatra Jr. began while he was filling an engagement at Lake Tahoe. He was on the bill at the Hurrah Casino, and there was no shadow of the impending crime as he held the floor at an earlier performance. Fulfilling his engagement at the resort on the California-Nevada state line, young Frank was staying at this motel annex. He was having dinner before one of his shows moved in. An FBI padlock seals the door of his room as clues are sought. A trumpet player, John Foss, was with Sinatra when the two armed gunmen spirited him away. Foss was able to give the authorities little help as police set up roadblocks within 15 minutes. The kidnappers, however, slipped the net and drove their victim to Los Angeles 400 miles away. The elder Sinatra received 8 phone calls with instructions on ransom payments, and in the early morning hours, more than 2 days later, was able to announce his son's return. Most of the money, all in small bills, was recovered. The accused men had no chance to spend much, so swift were the arrests. At Mrs. Sinatra's Bel Air home, there's an atmosphere of thanks and rejoicing.
I was scared. I was a little bit nervous, naturally, but the only thing I could do is hope for the best.
What procedure was you on? Confident that it turned out all right? Over here.
We just prayed that it would.
Mrs. Sinatra.
Yes, sir.
When was the first time that you talked with Frank? Was it when he was brought home, or did he talk to you on the phone beforehand?
When he was brought home.
When did you first know he was safe? When did you?
I never knew that he was safe until I saw him.
How do you feel now? How do you feel now, Mrs. Sinatra?
Just beautiful, thank you. And may we be excused.
When will you go back to work, Frank?
Talk them out of it at all.
We don't know that. We're keeping him home for a
I'm not
while.
at liberty to release that information.
Fellas, do you mind if we go now? Because I want to see them.
Okay, honey. Give her a big kiss, why don't you?
As for the missing money, the boy's father said he couldn't care less. The entire family, father, mother, sister Nancy, and Frank Jr., all echoed the same thought, thank God it's over. A happy ending to what could have been a tragedy. A headliner takes over the rostrum at the National Press Club in Washington. The men who cover the Capitol scene are regaled by Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, who has some comments about his latest picture.
For over 30 years now, I have been indulging in the occupation of raising goose flesh domestically and in England. I have only recently completed work on the latest picture. The title is quite short, just 2 words. There were 3, but we cut the first word for and call it simply The Birds. Naturally, most of the actors in The Birds are. The cast also includes a few men and women. After all, the picture isn't just about the birds, it's about the bees, too.
New honors for the man who was chilling movie audiences long before air conditioning.
The 35th Annual Academy Awards, or Oscars as they are popularly known, provided an evening of excitement and unpredictability. On hand were the 2 stars of last year's surprise hit, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane? Bette Davis gave out the Writing Award, but it was co-star Joan Crawford who shined as she accepted Best Actress Award for Missing Anne Bancroft. Last year's Oscar winner, Sophia Loren, caused a stir when she announced that Best Actor had gone to Gregory Peck, a dark horse but a real crowd pleaser. Best Picture went to Lawrence of Arabia in a ceremony tinged with glamour and drama.
The velvet cloak of night shrouds the London airport. All is quiet, all is serene. But this is the lull before the storm. Thousands of Beatles fans are bedded down for the night to await the arrival of their heroes. When the dawn comes up like a teenage scream, the arrival of the froggy-voiced foursome is imminent. The cries of the crowd grow in pitch and volume, drowning out the whine of the jet engines. And here they are, 12th 1,000 young Britons roar a welcome. Their shrieks rise in an awesome wave. Our staff scientist, in an odd moment, calculated that this young mob is generating enough energy to put 3 Atlas missiles in orbit and power 54,000 transistor radios. Some of the fences hold, others do not. A minor miracle is mounted by the fact that there are no injuries spread among the near hysterical crowd. This truly is a social document for our time. 40 young ladies fainted, but authorities feel that some were playing possum, so that they might be lifted over the fence and thus be nearer their idols. The Beatles, who originated as a small-time act out of Liverpool, now have no rivals as the kingpins of the teenage set. You can repeat that loud and long.
For the more mature crowd, 1963 was the year that saw Playboy magazine in hot water. Jane Mansfield's photo spread promoting her new skin flick caused publisher Hugh Hefner to get busted. Jane claimed she was just a working mom trying to make a living.
The most famous town in South Dakota, Aberdeen. It has a population of 25,005. Mr. and Mrs. Andrew Fisher lived on this dilapidated farm and kept cows to help feed their other 5 children. That is, they lived here until the stork delivered a package that has made them famous around the world. Mr. Fisher, 38, has $76 a week take-home pay. The Fishers met when both were members of a bowling league. They were married 9 years ago and now really made a 10 strike. 8 girls and 2 boys. Meanwhile, back in the nursery, the famous 5 are doing fine. Past their critical 72-hour period, they are now fed a teaspoon of milk every 2 hours through tubes. They'll be on bottles when their muscles strengthen. The odds on a quintuple birth are 1 in 54 million. Only the Dions of Canada and the Diligentes of Argentina have survived infancy in the Western Hemisphere. Further records are vague. With fame, the Quints will have economic security. Publishing contracts and a new home are assured to add to hundreds of tax-free gifts. Mrs. Fisher received congratulatory messages from all parts of the world, including one from a famous father. The best wishes from President Kennedy are echoed by everyone. May the future happiness of Mr. and Mrs. Fisher be 5 times brighter than it was before.
But all was darkness in November of 1963.
A dark page in the annals of America has been written to the crack of an assassin's bullet. A nation mourns, the world grieves. The man who became 35th president less than 3 years ago is dead. His rendezvous with grim destiny begins a little after noontime as his plane lands in Dallas. Earlier, he had received a tumultuous reception in Fort Worth, and now more thousands are waiting to greet him in downtown Dallas. But death is less than 1 short hour away. At 1:25, the motorcade moves into the downtown area. Death is 6 minutes away. In a warehouse, a sniper with a rifle poised waits. The cheers of the crowd almost muffle the 3 shots. The assassin's aim is deadly. The area is aswarm with police, rangers, and Secret Service men. The murderer slips the net, but a few blocks away, a man is captured after he is reported to have killed a policeman. At Parkland Memorial Hospital, President Kennedy died. The 4th U.S. president to perish at the hand of an assassin. To a stunned people, it was unbelievable. The Dallas police arrested Lee Harvey Oswald. They found the assassin's weapon, and they were convinced they had the criminal. But then, a bizarre murder thwarted forever the normal process of justice and the hope of certainty. Jack Ruby, a Dallas nightclub owner, with a nationwide TV audience watching, dealt out his own neurotic justice. Across the country, around the world, disbelief was the first reaction. Then a great outpouring of grief, shock, and revulsion. A proud banner is lowered. The empty White House is a symbol of this infamous mockery of American ideals of peace and freedom. Peoples of all faiths unite in prayer for the first Catholic to become president. sound of the muffled drum sweeps in melancholy waves over the hushed throng. A hush broken only by a stifled sob, a murmured prayer. A whole people is lifted up in common sorrow and ennobled in their hearts.